Well, 5G is amazing. It's not only a big change in the end user functionality for mobile communications, it's a massive increase in capabilities and performance, but it's also the first time that the whole back end of the mobile telephony system has been upgraded in decades. So the capabilities it's going to open up are going to be transformational. It's not just a little speed improvement, but things that you could never do before, like high-resolution location analysis and new applications that'll come through that increased bandwidth. So 5G has these amazing capabilities it provides businesses and consumers, but the big implication of that is what it's going to do to data. So here in this room are all kinds of companies and people that deal with data, and already telephony data and the metadata it creates is the largest analyzed data set in the world. What 5G is going to do is at least 20x, if not 50x, that data. So everything related to how much data can be analyzed, how do you get great price performance, the challenge is really going to be driven by 5G because that's where all the data volume of the future is coming from. So the reason why there needs to be even more collaboration in general, not only with 5G but all these other new technologies, is just the scale and complexity is beyond the scope of any one company. Even the giant hyperscalers, they can't do all this themselves. So as a result, it's going to create this need for collaboration because the complexity just is accelerating. The classic ways that IT companies have always collaborated is through interfaces. There's been efforts over the decades to have open source where people work on the same code, but really collaboration, the rubber meets the road when you're talking about an interface. And one of the things you've seen as a result in the database world and the data warehouse world is kind of the reemergence of the dominance of SQL. SQL is a language that's been around for decades. It's a complete language for relational algebra. It does everything you need to do, and as a result, there are hundreds of companies that support it in terms of visualization tools or BI tools, as well as the databases and data warehouses itself. So we at Ocient support SQL, industry standard, native SQL, and have found that there's always an answer with SQL because it's a common interface that everyone supports. The other thing that we're seeing happening in general, not only with 5G but with data in general, is this increasing scale. And there are a lot of existing architectures and solutions that can work at parts of that, but when you're really talking about analyzing the largest data sets in the world that are now 20xing or 50xing in terms of their scale, it isn't just that you could turn what you had up to 11. It's not going to work. And so you've got to rethink all the way back to the architecture. So that's what we've done at Ocient, is rethought from scratch. If you really had to analyze data at hyperscale, not just today but in the future, how could you do that? And so we build an architecture from scratch that really does deliver at limitless scale. You can analyze data with complex analysis and get interactive performance. So we're at Big Data London because London in general, and the UK and also, really is at the cutting edge of data analysis, data technology. It really is. We do work all around the world, and the UK along with the US are really up at the top in terms of what's happening. The actual scale and complexity and sophistication of the customers, the systems they're deploying, the vendor activity here really is top tier. So UK London is the place to be, and so Big Data London for sure, and you can see it if you look around the room, like everybody's here, this place is packed.